Welcome back, family heads, to another episode of Family Vacation. Last week we discussed my second favorite album of the year, That Feels Good by Jessie Ware. An incredibly fun and passionate disco experience that I've had on repeat since it came out in April. I hope you guys are enjoying the new review format. I know it's a bit of an adjustment, especially for me. Straying away from the track-by-track format to more traditional condensed reviews is kind of weird and a lot tougher than just saying what we like about each song as we go through the album. But I'm enjoying the challenge, you know? It's letting me flex my creative muscles and my musical knowledge, helping me learn to talk about music more refined, which I think I need. But yeah, let me know what you guys think of these reviews or just any other general feedback you guys have. I'd love to hear your thoughts. Also, just a little side note, we're thinking of diversifying the content throughout the summer so that it's not just reviews. We're going to try doing some other things. We have some other ideas just so this format doesn't get too stale. So yeah, just stay tuned and I hope you guys enjoy. But anyway, we're sticking with the reviews for this week and are taking a look at another personal highlight of 2023. If you like shredding guitars, deconstructing toxic relationships, and the fusion of Britpop and grunge, then you're in luck, because today we're discussing Blondshell's self-titled debut. But before we discuss any further, I'm going to take a little break, and I'll be back with a little history. So, stay tuned. Hey Matt, you know what I love?
Steely Dan?
Well, yes, but I also love how easy it is for two goobers like us to make a podcast.
I mean, with Spotify for Podcasters, it's no wonder. Spotify for Podcasters is a one-stop shop that's got everything you need to create the perfect podcast.
That's right. Using Spotify for Podcasters, you can directly record and edit your podcast wherever you are, using their intuitive and easy-to-use website.
And once you're done editing, Spotify for Podcasters takes care of the hard part and distributes your podcast directly to Spotify and everywhere else podcasts are available.
And now you can even make video podcasts available on Spotify, which gives you even more freedom to make the podcast you want, while also giving your lovely listeners a chance to see your face.
Speaking of listeners, Spotify for Podcasters also encourages fan engagement by letting you get feedback directly from your listeners with Q&As and polls made by you.
You can even make money with your podcast through ads, podcast subscriptions, and donations directly from your audience.
Spotify for Podcasters offers all of this, and it's completely free to use with no catch whatsoever.
Guys, Spotify for Podcasters made recording and distributing the family album so easy. Being able to schedule our episodes ahead of time and letting them take care of distribution took so much weight off our shoulders.
For anyone that's ever even thought about starting a podcast, we highly recommend giving Spotify for Podcasters a try.
You can download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters to get started.
Once again, download the Spotify for Podcasters app or go to www.spotify.com/podcasters.
And welcome back, family heads. Let's just dive in, shall we? Blondshell by Blondshell was released April 7th, 2023 on Partisan Records, and it's the debut album of Sabrina Teitelbaum's current project, Blondshell. However, this is not Teitelbaum's first rodeo. She originally got her start around 2017, however, it should be noted that she had been releasing music on SoundCloud since about 2014. At this time, she was primarily a pop artist releasing music under the name Bomb. But around 2020, after becoming disillusioned with the pop direction her music had been going, Teitelbaum's producer Eve Rothman encouraged her to shift her music into its current direction after he heard an acoustic demo of this album's track Olympus. And after a lot of isolated writing sessions during the pandemic, we got the Blondshell we know and love today. And love is definitely the right word because this album is pretty great. Taking influences from 80s Britpop and 90s grunge, Blondshell delivers a compact yet introspective album that discusses themes of toxic relationships, substance abuse, anxiety, and the young adult experience as a whole. And she pulls it off beautifully, delivering songs that vary wildly in tone, but remain consistent through themes and experiences that everyone can sympathize with, if not relate to. This can be seen as early as the opening track, Veronica Mars. In this alt-rock, grungy throwback, Blondshell discusses the idea of having boundaries crossed, by using her experiences of being exposed to the graphic content of the Veronica Mars TV show at an age she wasn't ready for. This track brilliantly builds tension by beginning with just Blondshell's vocals and guitar, before exploding into the last chorus with a full band entrance and a killer crunchy guitar solo. This track is such a great opener and attention grabber. It's catchy, it's the hardest hitting song musically, and even though it's short and simple, it's certainly effective. It's a certified banger. Since I mentioned the guitar solo, I'll take this moment to shout out the guitar work all across this album. It's an easy highlight through and through. Sam Stewart's guitar work shines on every track, delivering a variety of excellent guitar tones and killer solos that bolster each track they're given a moment to shine. Ranging from the crunchy, shoegazy shredding on the opening track to the airy, almost country-like noodling on Sepsis, Stewart's playing really emphasizes the tone of each song while being a musical high point all on its own. And nowhere is that more apparent than on the second track, Kiss City, a personal favorite of mine. Kiss City slows things way down from the headbanging opener with a more intimate atmosphere, as Blondshell's soft vocals are complemented by the sprinkling of piano and a steady beat led by Shaker. Kiss City describes the feeling of being unfulfilled in a relationship and demanding the bare minimum from a partner who won't reciprocate. And you can really feel it as Blondshell lethargically sings the first half of the song as if it's something she's gone through far too often. Lyrics like, "Just look me in the eye when I'm about to finish," or "It turns me on when you tell me you're not going away," just shows how low the bar is in this doomed relationship. But nothing compares to the last chorus when everything comes to a boiling point and Blondshell has had enough. Led in by a smooth guitar lick, the music gets louder and switches to a harder rock style as Blondshell screams these same lyrics, demanding her partner listen to her instead of just her asking. Stewart's guitar work here is once again top-notch as he trills throughout the last chorus, creating an almost scream-like sound that plays until the end when the song slows down. Kiss City is definitely a highlight from this album that embodies its core themes of introspection and catharsis, and it's also just really great musically with that smooth bass line and those complementary keys. Some other track highlights include the previously mentioned Sepsis, which takes on a more grungy kind of country blues sound and describes toxic relationships, with Blondshell's high notes and layered vocals during the chorus being a high point of the whole album. There's also Joiner, which takes on an acoustic indie rock style, particularly inspired by The Replacements according to the artist herself. There's lots of love here with the more upbeat energy, the really tight drum beat, and Stewart's great as always guitar work. Blondshell's higher pitched vocals are also noteworthy here, and I especially love her delivery of the hook on the Creep lyrics, where she extends and holds the word as she ascends her voice. So now that we got all that icky positivity out of the way, is there anything wrong with this album? Well, the only drawbacks for me are that I think it's a little front heavy. The run of Veronica Mars through Sepsis is really good, and unfortunately, I don't think the last 4 tracks had that same impact, though Joiner is the exception. Also, tonally, the last 4 tracks aren't as diverse, leaning more towards the drearier, slower ballads, rather than the more dynamic energy flow of the first half. But that's not a huge deal, because I enjoyed every song on this album. For example, the song Tarmac has a heavier, grungy sound, with post-punk guitars that add to the darker feeling the song exudes. And it's also a great song, especially during the chorus when everything gets loud, with that crash cymbal-centered drum beat and that pulsing bass line. Plus, Blondshell's layered vocals sounds like she has an entire crowd backing her up as she sings about feeling alone in a relationship and being in love with a feeling rather than a person. Also, of course, I gotta mention Stewart's awesome guitar solo during the outro that really sends off the song perfectly. So as you can see, there are still great moments on this back half, but I just personally preferred the more musically diverse tracks on the first. Well, I reckon that brings me to my final thoughts and ratings. Blondshell by Blondshell is a really cool experience through and through. Whether it be the emotional introspection about relationships, or the hard-hitting, tonally shifting instrumentals, there's something for everyone on this album, and it's a project I always enjoy coming back to. On my ranked list of 2023 albums, Blondshell currently sits pretty at 9th out of 45, and I'd give this album an 8.5 out of 10, and a solid A tier. And another mini review down, what did you guys think? I thought it was pretty fun. I'm starting to get the hang of this format a little better, and I've really been enjoying talking about some of my favorite releases of this year. But I shouldn't have all the fun. I think I should at least pass the mic to my esteemed co-host Matt Glass every once in a while. That's right, family heads, next week Matt will be reviewing one of his personal favorite albums of the year. So stay tuned. You don't want to miss it, it's a great one he's got picked out. Also, don't forget to let me know what you thought about this episode, as well as Blondshell by Blondshell, and as always, I'm your host, AJ Tenari. Thank you for listening, and I'll see you in 2 weeks. Bye-bye.